Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Why RHOBH's Kyle Richards might be the villain, not Mauricio Umansky. Since Season 1, Episode 1 of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, I've always had a soft spot for Kyle Richards. Perhaps it was because she had such turmoil with her sisters, or the fact that she really loved being a wife and mother. In the early days, Kyle came across as innocent, now I know better, but whatever it was, the actor had a spell over me. However, as Season 14 continued to air, I couldn't help but wonder, was Kyle the damsel in distress, or was she just the distress for others? So, divorce is a sticky roller coaster of a mess. We all know this. For 2 years now, fans have watched Kyle and Mauricio Umansky navigate their separation, and it's pretty much stalled in the water. But to have no resolution feels a bit odd to many RHOBH fans. To this day, none of us understands what led to their 27-year marriage ending. Kyle has dropped cryptic hints during the reunion that Mao broke her trust, but never gave an example. For years there have been rumors surrounding his possible infidelity, but no woman has ever come forward claiming to be a mistress. Since they announced their breakup in July 2023, Mauricio has moved out of the family home. Since then, fans have watched Kyle process the major change to her life. But some scenes showed the duo hugging, crying, and talking about their family. And while it might have been cathartic for them, it felt manipulative on Kyle's part. The big elephant in the room is why no papers have been signed, and all fingers seem to be pointing to Kyle holding back. Ma has been spotted with multiple women, but the biggest lady of note had to be the airport snap heard around the Bravosphere. After just stepping off the plane in Mykonos, Greece, on July 16, a pap snapped Mao embracing a young woman and kissing her. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills fans watch the fallout during the current season. And while Erica Jane and Jennifer Tilly both recently called him out for his passive-aggressive behavior, I was left questioning if Mao was really at fault here. According to Kyle, he is playing by the rules, and both are entitled to date during their separation period. Kyle told The Hollywood Reporter, "Obviously, it's strange to see his personal life played out all the time. Photos of him walking down the street with other women. But while it may be strange, we're not together like that, so it is what it is." But Kyle also noted at the reunion that he is allowed to date. She told the cast that Mao loves to socialize. "It makes me think that's one of the reasons we're not together, actually," she elaborated. "I don't like to go out and party like that. When we were in our 20s it was great, 30s too, but now I'm like, I don't want to do that." During the reunion, Kyle revealed some more cryptic breadcrumbs to Andy Cohen and viewers. "I know he regrets things that have happened that got us to this place," Kyle responded. "I don't know if he wants to get back together because he has never said that," she shared. Kyle alluded to some issues that could have caused their demise. She noted that money, traveling, fame, his business, the agency growing, and the attention he was getting with all that didn't help their relationship. At times, it very much felt like Kyle played the victim role. She was not innocent, as photos of her and Morgan Wade took over the blogs. To this day, she still hasn't defined their relationship. But according to Kyle, the marital issues had more to do with Mao. She ended her part at the reunion, noting, "Women are snakes. They see a man who was a good husband and a good father, and he has money, and they're like, 'Oh, I want that,' and throw themselves at him. And we got married very young, and he never got to go out and do his thing. And I think that, really contributed to the downfall of our marriage." Kyle can be both the villain and the damsel. It just depends on the day. The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is available to stream on Peacock and Hayu in the UK and Ireland. For over a decade, fans of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills have watched Kyle Richards play the role of the elegant, relatable anchor of the franchise. A mother, a wife, a sister, and a woman trying to navigate the Beverly Hills social scene with style and grace. Her husband, Mauricio Umansky, the charismatic real estate mogul, was often seen as the supportive partner, rarely getting pulled into the drama that surrounded Kyle's life with her fellow housewives. But now, with their marriage under public scrutiny and Kyle's shifting image in the latest seasons, fans are beginning to wonder, was Mauricio really the villain in their story, or has Kyle been quietly writing herself into that role? Mauricio seems like the kind of man you root for. He built the agency from the ground up, turned heads with his easy charm, and stood by Kyle through some of the most turbulent housewives seasons. Be it the Kim Richards saga, the Lisa Vanderpump fallout, or the more recent Erika Jayne chaos. He rarely snapped, rarely meddled, and almost always chose diplomacy over drama. He was the anti-house husband, low-key, non-toxic, and supportive. So when rumors began swirling about tension in their marriage, viewers were confused. Could Mauricio, the golden boy, be hiding something sinister? But as the show peeled back more layers of their relationship, a different narrative began to emerge. Kyle, once painted as the long-suffering wife, began revealing a side of herself that didn't match the image she had so carefully curated. And maybe, just maybe, Mauricio isn't the one who changed. Let's start with Kyle's evolving personality over the last few seasons. Go-On is the warm-hearted, quirky little sister of season 1 who would throw up her hands in frustration when Kim was late to brunch. In her place is a sharper, more calculated version, one who seems less about connecting with others and more about controlling the narrative. Her transformation was subtle at first. A little more defensiveness here, a little less empathy there. But over time it became harder to ignore. She seemed more judgmental of others' choices, while simultaneously shutting down when anyone tried to question hers. Kyle's feud with her sisters is a prime example. While the show often painted her as the peacekeeper between Kim and Kathy Hilton, a deeper dive suggests otherwise. With Kim, Kyle often oscillated between concerned sister and controlling skeptic, minimizing Kim's struggles while maximizing her own frustration. And with Kathy, things took an even darker turn. Kyle's inability, or unwillingness, to protect Kathy during season 12's infamous Aspen trip didn't sit right with fans. Instead of standing by her sister, Kyle appeared more interested in staying aligned with Lisa Rinna, even as Rinna launched a full-scale attack on Kathy's character. Loyalty, it seemed, was conditional. This theme of conditional loyalty extended to her marriage as well. Mauricio was often seen trying to keep things light and loving, even as Kyle began to emotionally pull away. She started working out obsessively, stopped drinking, and began forging a new identity that didn't seem to include her husband. While self-improvement is admirable, the emotional distancing and passive-aggressive jabs at Mauricio painted a different picture. One of a woman who may have already decided to outgrow her marriage but didn't want to be the one to pull the plug. Enter Morgan Wade. Kyle's sudden friendship with the younger country singer raised more than a few eyebrows, not because of Wade's gender, but because of the way Kyle was acting. The tattoos, the matching rings, the flirty Instagram captions, everything about their relationship screamed intimacy and secrecy. Yet Kyle remained cryptic, dancing around questions while posting photos that only fueled the fire. Mauricio, on the other hand, kept his silence. He made no public accusations, no defensive posts. When the separation was eventually confirmed, it was Kyle who seemed more emotionally conflicted, yet strangely cold. This duality is what makes her so fascinating, and so frustrating. Kyle expertly wields her vulnerability when it suits her, shedding tears in interviews, painting herself as confused, overwhelmed, or misunderstood. But this vulnerability often seems performative, especially when contrasted with her actions. For instance, she bristled at the suggestion that she had emotionally abandoned Mauricio, yet rarely made efforts to contradict that perception with genuine acts of connection. Her coldness, her avoidance, and her tendency to deflect instead of engage. These are not the actions of someone who is simply struggling. These are the signs of someone who may already have a foot out the door, while still wanting to control the optics. And that's the crux of the issue, control. Kyle Richards is a master of the long game. She's been in Hollywood her entire life. She knows how to spin the story, when to cry, when to get angry, and when to play the victim. And while Mauricio was busy building an empire, Kyle was perfecting her role, not as a housewife, not as a sister, but as the heart of the show. But what if she's not the heart at all? What if she's the hidden villain, cloaked in glam and self-help mantras, using subtle manipulation to remain the fan favorite while quietly pulling the strings? Let's not forget that Kyle was also the one who drove wedges between other cast members under the guise of being honest. She called out Dorit for being late, questioned Denise Richards' integrity, and frequently took issue with Sutton for being too emotional. When someone else lashes out, Kyle calls them dramatic.